the militia, is it legal for them to walk around with guns?
Yeah.
Under the Second Amendment.
Yeah, but what they want to do is, I mean, they want to kill everybody and say, yeah, we're going to do it. You know, this is what they plan to do.
This is another something different. Obama had Larry Summers on his team, and I was listening to Democracy Now! And what's his name? The professor. There was two different professors was saying, one was black, his name is Mr. West, Cornel West, and said that Larry Summers went to everybody department and greeted them except for the Black Studies department. And that's when he left the school. And then there was another guy, professor, he was white, and he had been getting all these Fresno awards for having some kind of awards. You know the name? Where you get the best instructor, best type of studies and stuff. And said one of the students asked him something about something, and he got upset about it. And then later on, his contract wasn't renewed because of the question, but it was dealing with the kind of stuff that you all talk about. And so I'm just wondering why President Obama, I have great respect, you know, but I'm just saying, why did he have this man on his team?
The same thing.
Huh?
I said we'd like to know the same thing.
Yeah, we got a number of hands here, so Michael.
Yeah, I wanted to address that website you went to, the 14 points that prove that fascism's here already in the United States. Well, I'm unfamiliar with that, and one of the problems with that website is very static. It doesn't show the movement of the masses underneath. There isn't a fascist movement in this country. There are characteristics of fascism, which were the first 3 points in this article here, but the last 3 points...
I refuse to believe that it's not fascism.
Can I finish? Can I finish talking? From the Trotsky's point of view, from a Marxist point of view, there isn't a fascist movement. And it takes, there is not the movement. Points 4, 5, and 6 are missing from that professor's analysis of the situation in the United States. Points 4, 5, and 6 are missing. The mass movement is not here. The mass fascist movement is not here. And in his 14 points, he does not address that. So I think
you'd have to show me.
you have to. Well, it's here.
But I don't have it. I'm not looking at it, so I'm saying.
I'm talking about this. Trotsky's article, points 4, 5, and 6 are missing from that professor's analysis of fascism in the United States.
What professor?
That website you're talking about is actually some professor put the points up, and he was saying that Bush is a fascist because of the Patriot Act and all that. The stuff on the web is not Marxist. People, like we had a discussion at the beginning of the movement where people assign meanings to the same words, different meanings to the same words. And I think what we're doing is we're talking about fascism from a Marxist perspective. And we're addressing it from...
It doesn't have just a straight up definition?
No, it doesn't. These words mean different things to different people.
But I mean, there's no
there is no class. There is no one
that. Dictionary and look up.
Well, the dictionary is written by some professor as well.
Everything is
yeah, but we'll have differences. You notice that. You know that in the Christian church.
I don't know anything about the Christian church.
Well, we know that people say that's not really Christianity. Then another Christian says, yes, it is. It's that kind of difference. It's real hard when you're talking about these big concepts about how we organize society. Everyone, not everyone, but different groups of people have different interpretation about what those words mean. And what we were talking about tonight is the Marxist description of fascism. And other people, the Tea Party folks call Obama.
It looks the same.
Well, the Tea Party people call Obama a fascist and a communist and a socialist all at the same time.
But that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know, but that's an example of how the same word gets twisted. So what we're trying to do is clarify how the left in the country, the Marxists, would use the word fascism and fascist movement. Another thing is that demoralization has not set. The demoralization has not yet set in.
Who are we?
We,
When you talk
members
about-
of Workers' World Party,
Marxists.
Marxists,
Uh-huh.
Marxists, revolutionaries.
Yeah, revolutionary.
Marxist revolutionaries, okay? Now, we also don't have the organizational collapse yet. I mean, Ayanna Jones, 300 people came out. I don't think under fascism 300 people would come out like they did in the neighborhood the night she was, the
Really?
night following that she was killed.
300.
Detroit Coalition of Police Brutality is
The people
active
that
on a
came
weekly
out- the people
basis,
that came
and
out-
they,
The people that came out for her killing it's not fascist.
that's exactly right.
No,
It's
they-
not fascist. Under
But the
fascism,
police, the way the police
wait.
went about
Under
killing
fascism,
little
the
girl
people
is
probably would
definitely
not have
fascist.
come out.
Under
Had there been fascism, the people would have been demoralized. Those people in the neighborhood under fascism would have sat down and
I
go,
don't believe
what the
that.
Let
heck
me
is
just say
going
this.
on?
I don't believe
For 12 years under Hitler, there was one demonstration in a country of 30 million people.
But you can still see the tenets and the beginnings of fascism in this
Well, we're
country.
not talking
I see
about
it
that.
here. Well,
We're talking about
I'm
establishing fascist
making a
fast
parallel from the past to the present.
food.
Where
Okay.
you have tendencies that's going
and that-
on now, fascist tendencies that's being played out right now, just like in the period in which you're talking about. You can begin to see certain things are happening, the same kind of things that led to what Hitler did. You can see that
I'm
converging.
not disputing that.
now.
I'm saying that we're not there yet.
That's what
I think
Dave was
you're
talking about
saying
earlier when he
that's
said
what
pre,
I got that
pre-fascist.
from him. I got that real loud and clear from him.
Well, he said we're in the pre-fascist
And let me
stage.
just say this about the words. We can argue about the words and the meanings, and no one disputes that the police killing or has been used and tactics have been used. Why is it so important? Trotsky has pages and pages here because the political parties at the time, he was the head of a very small grouping. The big political parties completely misunderstood the nature of Hitler's movement, who it was appealing to, who backed it. The Communist Party thought that the socialists were worse than the fascists. And I think if Germany had a socialist revolution, the whole world would be socialist now. We wouldn't have had this. World War II never would have happened. So he argued because they had a military. Here's something now, and it wasn't easy. Before Hitler, they gave up parliamentary elections, and they had almost like a military. They were ruling under decree, which meant that they had a dictatorship, a military-type dictatorship in Germany. The Communist Party, who had millions of members, millions, unbelievable, said, well, we're at fascism already. Now, yes, this ruling by decree, they were shooting workers down, they were oppressing people, they were outlawing strikes, and then when Hitler grows up, the Communist Party said, well, he's no different, we're at fascism already. And therefore, they didn't aim their main target at Hitler's fascism, which was a mass movement. They totally didn't have tactics. They didn't know how to weave and bob and how to make alliances and who to attack at one time. And that was a reason we're spending time examining what is a military dictatorship. He used the term Bonapartism. He's got a whole section on that. People didn't understand what he was talking about, but he tried to explain so they could see fascism was something different and new and required a certain tactics. And just because we had a military dictator, the Communist Party said to Trotsky, well, you want us to support the Brüning government, and he's shooting workers, and no elections are being held. And he said, no, just to target that Hitler is worse than Brüning. Brüning may be shooting workers, but he hasn't outlawed the unions. He hasn't destroyed the union halls physically, burnt them down. The first thing Hitler did was they burnt the union halls and the communist offices down. Headquarters like this were torched. So they needed to, and they didn't understand that. The political activists, I'm not talking about everyday workers, the best political activists didn't understand how to proceed. They were at a loss how to proceed. And that's why we're making a study of this. We can argue about where pre-fascist means, or proto-fascist, or whiff of fascism, and what day that it turns into fascism.